Good morning, students. Welcome to Ruling the Countryside. Ma, today we are going to learn about Blue Rebellion and after. Okay? In the last video, we have seen what is the Rauti system also. I hope you all have understood it very clearly. Now today, let us first, before going to the Blue Rebellion, let us first briefly try to understand what is the process of indigo cultivation. Okay? Now here in your textbook page number 34, you are given the entire process very clearly. It's very easy to understand. You please go through this because this is important for us. Okay? I'll just brief the process here for you. Now first, what happens actually is the leaves are bought and here you have 3 chambers. 1, 2, 3 chambers. At times there may be 4 also. And these are called as vats. V-A-T, vat. Vat means it is a very, very big vessel. Okay, here the meaning of vat is given in your textbook. A fermenting or a storage vessel. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 vats are there here. In the first vat, what they do is they bring the leaves and here you have warm water in it and the leaves are soaked in that warm water. Now see here. The leaves of the indigo plant are first soaked in warm water for several hours. When the plants fermented, the liquid began to boil and bubble. Okay, so here they are soaked in warm water and after fermentation the liquid is set on flame, so it boils and bubbles. Now the rotten leaves are taken out and the liquid is drained into another vat. So now leaves are taken out from this and the liquid whatever is there, it is sent to another vat. This is the second vat called the beater vat. The first vat is called the steeper vat. The second is called the beater vat. Now here the solution is continuously stirred and beaten with paddles. So what is happening here? We have got some solution. Now this is continuously stirred. When it is stirred continuously, what has happened? It becomes thick. Like our milk, you pour half liter of milk in a bowl and leave it on the flame in low flame. Let's see what happens. The milk, it becomes thick and thicker. It gets thicker. As time goes on, it gets thicker and thicker. So this also happens the same thing. So here the solution becomes very thick. Gradually, when the liquid gradually turns green and then blue, lime water was added to the vat. Gradually, the indigo separated out in flakes. A muddy sediment settled at the bottom of the vat and a clear liquid rose to the surface. So, gradually what happens is, after continuous stirring, some sort of a muddy substance gets, it settles down at the ground layer of that vat. Okay, here in the ground some sort of a muddy substance. This is blue color only na here. Okay, this muddy heavy substance, it settles here and all the above you have the liquid in the vat. The liquid was drained off and the sediment, the indigo pulp, is transferred to another vat. So this pulp is again taken into this vat where it is pressed and dried and ready for sale. So this is the process of indigo production. This you please go through now. Okay. Now let us go with the Blue Rebellion. Now what is this Blue Rebellion? Why this Blue Rebellion has actually come up? Okay. Now see here. In the March of 1859, the Ryots in Bengal refused to grow indigo. Now as I said, the planters, they were insisting the farmers or the Ryots to grow indigo, and at the early stage the Ryots felt it was very nice because they were receiving advances. Happily they were receiving the advances before the crop comes. So that was nice for the Ryots in the first stages initially. But later on they could understand how they were exploited by the planters. So a point of time came in March 1859, they refused to grow indigo. They refused to pay the taxes also. Now see here. Ryots refused to pay rents to the planters. They attacked indigo factories. Women turned up with pots, pans and kitchen implements. So here women also, They went with the pots, they went with all whatever arms are available in the kitchen. They took them and they went against the planters to beat the planters. Now, those who worked for the planters were socially boycotted. So people who supported the planters or people who worked for the planters, they were socially boycotted. Means they were not allowed to be in the villages. They were not, no one spoke to them. They were treated as enemies. Okay. And Gumastas, the agents of planters who came to collect rent, were beaten up. Now who are Gumastas? They were agents of the planters who used to collect the rent. Underline the statement, ma. Now, Rhodes swore they would no longer take advance and to sow indigo nor be bullied by the planters, Lathials. Now see here, the Rhodes, they swore that they will no longer take advances from the planters and they will not come under the under the fear of the Lathials. Who are these Lathials? Lathials are strong people who used to have a lathi in their hand, maybe to beat others. Okay. Nowadays you have for heroes and heroines, you have those bouncers, no? Called bouncers, bodyguards called as bouncers. How they are? With this much and this much of arms they'll be there, no? Lathials also used to be like that. Very nicely built bodies they used to have. Okay. Now, this was the actual rebellion which happened over there. But why did the doubt what we have to get is, why did the people rebel? Till then they were very comfortable, na? Actually they were happily taking advances and they were giving the crop to the planters. Then why did they suddenly think of rebellion? Did they have the support of any person? See, people are thinking to rebel. Means obviously they should have someone's support at the back end. Yes. So who were the people who supported these people? Who were the people who supported the Rhodes? Okay. That and all we'll see. Now see. In 1859, the Indigo Rhodes felt that they had the support of local zamindars and village headmen in their rebellion against the planters. So here see, the local zamindars and the village headmen, they supported the Indigo Rhodes. In many villages, the headmen were forced to sign indigo contracts. In other places, even the zamindars went around the villages urging the Rhodes to resist the planters. So both the headmen and the village headmen and the zamindars, they supported the Rhodes and they encouraged them to resist the planters. Why did the zamindars encourage the people or the Rhodes to resist the planters, ma? Do you remember? In the last classes I have told you na, that earlier zamindars were very powerful, and in the permanent settlement and all, the zamindars were powerful. They were told to collect the taxes. Yes, but slowly the position of the zamindar became weak. Now they were not assigned the duty of collecting the taxes. And here who became more powerful than the zamindars? The planters became more powerful than the zamindars. So this could not be taken by the zamindars. So they told the Rhodes to resist or to go against the planters. Okay. Now, the Indigo peasants also imagined that the British government would support them in their struggle against planters. So the peasants had the thought that the British government also, they will also support them, okay, in this revolt. After the revolt of 1857, British government was particularly worried about the possibility of another popular rebellion. So now this happened in 1859. So a revolt of 1857 you all have read in 7th standard, na? So after that revolt, the British, they did not want any other big revolution or revolt or rebellion to come up from the people, because it becomes hard for them to manage situations. So what they did, when the news spread of the simmering revolt in the Indigo districts, the Lieutenant Governor toured the region. The Rhodes saw the tour as a sign of government sympathy for their plight. So as soon as the news of this rebellion came to the Britishers, they sent a person, a Lieutenant Governor, to go and see the situation. What is happening over there? You go and try to understand exactly. So now this tour by the governor was seen as a support, okay, given by the British government to the Wrights. What did the Wrights understand? They thought that the British government is supporting them. That is the reason why they have sent the governor to see what are the problems faced by the Wrights. Okay, ma? Now, the magistrate Ashley Eden issued a notice stating that Wrights would not be compelled to accept indigo contracts. So this magistrate who came, he gave a notice that the Wrights, they should not be compelled by the planters. Means the planters should not insist the Wrights to sign the indigo contracts. Okay. Word went around that Queen Victoria had declared that indigo need not be sown. Actually, what the magistrate told, he just told that the planter should not compel the Wrights to grow indigo. But how the word went out? The word went out that Queen Victoria herself told that they need not grow indigo. Understood? So there is a difference. What the magistrate said was different. What the word which came out was totally different. As the rebellion worried by rebellion, the government brought in the military to protect the planters. So the government, it brought the military into action and the government has set up an indigo commission to inquire into the system of indigo protection. It also set up an indigo commission. It declared that indigo production was not profitable for Wrights. The commission asked the Wrights to fulfill their existing contracts, but also told them that they could refuse to produce indigo in future. So this indigo commission was appointed, and after complete analysis, the commission told that indigo cultivation is not at all fruitful or profitable to the Wrights. Okay, and they said that to complete the contracts which were already signed. Some contracts were already signed now, so to fulfill that contracts, and then after that you need not grow indigo. This was what the Indigo Commission has told the Wrights. Now see, after the revolt, the indigo production collapsed in Bengal, but the planters shifted to Bihar. From there, the planters shifted to Bihar. And in Bihar also some sort of a rebellion came. And when Gandhiji came back to India in 1917, he went to Bihar. He went to a place called Champaran in Bihar, where the people or the farmers were protesting against the indigo cultivation, and there he organized a Satyagraha movement also, ma. That was very successful. About that you will be learning in your 10th class. Okay. Now, so this is all about the Blue Rebellion and after. With this we have completed the lesson. Understood?